Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, and welcome to our Best of Success podcast show. It's always an honor to have with me Trent Cotney, partner with Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Jill, it's good to see you.
All right, so Trent, it sounds like clearly there's storms everywhere right now in the country, and there's a lot happening. And what you were just saying is you are getting bombarded with lots of different questions. What are the questions that contractors are asking, and what does everybody need to know?
So, it's important that contractors understand this before storms hit, like we've just had, right?
Yeah.
Tropical storm Debbie, and then later Hurricane Debbie came through, dumped a tremendous amount of rain in a short amount of time. Some wind damage, not a giant hurricane by any means, but clearly a slow moving named storm. So part of what contractors have to be prepared for, even if you're in environments like Florida, New Orleans, or Gulf Coast where it does rain quite a bit, is you're going to have an influx of warranty claims. And it doesn't matter how well you build a roof, you get torrential downpour for 8 hours straight. Water's going to come in somewhere, right? So what contractors need to understand, regardless of whether you're doing stucco or you're doing roofs or whatever it is that you have to be able to triage. And what I mean by that is you're going to get a ton of calls right away, and you've got to have your crews ready to go out there and tarp or do temp repairs or whatever is necessary to mitigate the damage, right? The ones that you have to put to the top of the heap are, hey, my ceiling collapsed, or hey, I've got water coming in through, this spot and it's actively destroying stuff. So those are the ones you need to prioritize. And what I recommend is maybe on a 1 to 5 scale, have your internal intake people identify, level of gravity. What is this on a 1 to 5? So that you're addressing the most important ones first, and the ones that aren't as important, you kind of move forward from there. A lot of moving parts with these types of claims, because if they are warranty, obviously, you've got some exposure, there's some potential insurance claims. So a lot of different moving parts, but the key thing is internally, you want to make sure that you got that process prepared, because if you don't, stuff can jump out at you quick.
Yeah, for sure. And you also were mentioning some of the calls coming in about what's the wind need to be? What's the wind
right?
need to be in order to...
So I get these calls all the time from contractors that don't understand the extent of their warranty. Now, an express workmanship warranty is based on, it's just like a contract, right? The terms of the warranty govern, but just because you have a named storm doesn't mean that it voids your warranty. Okay. Even if you say, if there's a storm that's 45 miles an hour or more and becomes a named storm, whatever, it voids the warranty. Well, I've had this argument come up in court, right? So the argument is the system is spec'd for 125 miles per hour. So if you're telling me that the mere fact that there was a storm that was 75 miles per hour voids my warranty, then you didn't provide any consideration for the product that you installed. Okay. So you need to be careful for those type of arguments. You can put anything you want in your warranty. You can say, it's void if somebody blows on it, whatever, right? You can provide no warranty whatsoever. But recognize, just because you have a named storm, it doesn't get you off the hook. Now, one thing I want to talk about, Jill, is there's a difference between just straight wind and missile debris. Clearly, if a tree, rams into a wall or a roof and destroys stuff, that's not covered, right? That's never going to be covered, right? If hail destroys a roof, that's not going to be something that you're going to cover, right? But if it is strictly wind and wind uplift we're talking about, you need to be very careful about how that's worded in your warranty. And you're not just off the hook now. I had one contractor call and say, well, I guess I'm good because all my warranties are now void. I'm like, no, that's just because it was a tropical storm doesn't mean that happens. So just be aware of that the devil's in the details when it comes to your warranties, and you need to make sure that you're parsing that language that deals with wind uplift and the system that you've installed versus when that warranty becomes void.
So let's talk about that wind uplift for a second, Trent. So
Mhm.
what is the on balance, what does the normal wind uplift say and what should you not say in your contracts?
Yeah, so I've reviewed thousands of contracts, literally thousands of contracts, and I've seen anything and everything that you can put in a warranty. What I like to say in a warranty is that in the event that the wind speeds exceed the performance standards of this system, then the warranty is void. And then in addition to that, I've got a bunch of other stuff. Hail disclaimers, missile damage, work done by others, failure to maintain. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can potentially throw in there. And, if it's a real storm, if you end up with a 3 or a 4, you're going to have some kind of debris damage, right? Rarely is a roof going to be untouched, without some kind of damage on there. But you can't, if you just say, hey, this, it's void if it's 75 miles an hour, you might end up with a legal challenge like the one I talked about. So what I'm trying to do is get you to where you're not there. And I think a better approach is to have many carve outs, many requirements, notice provisions, all that kind of stuff in there, the bells and whistles. But be careful about making a warranty basically meaningless, and contradicting other parts of what you're providing. So.
Got it. Yes, totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's always this is definitely storm season, Trent, so there's a lot going on there. But outside of storms, what else is on your worry list or what else is making your phone ring that we should talk about?
Yeah, what's not on my worry list, right? I had a ton of bid protests here recently. In fact, when I get off here, that's what I'm jumping on. So,
Okay.
for those of you that don't know, bid protest is when you're doing, public work, could be state or federal or local. It's a government entity, and you believe that you are the winning bidder. In order to be a successful bidder, normally you need two requirements. You have to be both responsible, meaning that you check whatever boxes are required. You got to have a license, you got to be insured, you got to have X number of years experience, whatever's required for that project. And you also have to be responsive, which means that you have to create a mirror image of what they ask for. It has to be apples to apples. You got to go through. There are minor deviations that are acceptable. I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but the key is you need to be both responsible and responsive, right? Mm-hmm. So as part of this process, you run into a lot of situations where the second highest bidder may end up getting a project for reasons that you don't think are right. There might be minor deviations or other reasons why, the justification for that. But if you look at it, you think that there might be a basis to protest that decision and hopefully have the project either be awarded to you or have the government relet altogether or something, right? So we end up in a lot of these situations right now as bidding season for a lot of the different, government entities that are out there, all over the U.S. I'm seeing tons of projects come up. Surprisingly, a lot of the projects that won't hit till this time next year are bid now. Especially school projects, right? They're bid way in advance. Time is of the essence. You've got a handful of months during summer to bid it. So they go through this process now, they get it all lined up, and then it's good to go, right? So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that you see. But just be aware, it's when you're doing a bid protest, very strict requirements. It is normally there's a preliminary protest and a larger one that goes out. It differs depending on what state you're in and what county you're doing work for or whatever. But very detailed, a lot of work in a short amount of time. But yeah, definitely getting a lot of those calls.
All right. Well, hopefully that will go well today.
Yeah.
Trent, thank you so much for your time as always. If anybody has any questions, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. They can just hit me up at trent.cotney@arlaw.com or hit me up on social at Trent Cotney.
Sounds great, Trent. And if anybody has any questions for us, it is roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content, especially sign up for our e-newsletters and our website so you can stay up to date on all the great interviews we are doing, like we are today with Trent. But most importantly, stay safe and healthy. And right now, hopefully stay dry. And we can't wait to talk to you soon. Thanks again, Trent.
Thank you.